Hi, for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm James Sillett. I'm a third year game development student at the University of Chester, and I tend to focus on mechanics programming. Um, I want to give you a quick overview of my interactive Boids demo. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what Boids are, it's basically a old AI method for managing group behavior. And you can see how these, rather than acting as individuals, they kind of start acting as a group. So that's what it is. It's not entirely suitable for games. I don't imagine it's particularly performant. Definitely looking at the way I've implemented it, it isn't. But a lot of the common flocking methods have some elements, or at least some of the theory is derived from Boids. So it's been a bit of a research project for me, trying to get my head around how flocking as a whole works. So we'll take a look at how it's working at the moment. Basically, I have 5 components. If we spawn 2 chickens, we'll notice they line up. This is my alignment component. They try and face the same direction, no matter how many you've got. And they'll kind of all head in the same direction. So the group has a heading. We have a cohesion component, which brings things together, and a separation component, which keeps them a fixed distance apart. And it shouldn't matter how many chickens I spawn in, their colliders should never get even close to touching because they maintain this almost fixed distance between them. Which is quite an interesting thing to work out. You see a little bit of jitter here. I'll come back to that in a moment. That's just because of the way I've implemented motion smoothing, or not smoothing as the case seems to be. Next up, we have got a pursuit vector, or a pursuit component. These chickens were what I kind of consider level 1. If I spawn a level 0 entity, they'll chase it down and kill it. Just imagine that's a little mouse or something a chicken might actually be able to kill. Sorry about the art. It's really not my gift, and I couldn't find any free low poly mice anywhere. So that's the pursuit vector. If we spawn a bunch of chickens now, I'll show you avoidance. Avoidance is different from separation. Separation is obviously the opposite of cohesion in this instance. Avoidance, basically, if I spawn a predator, like a fox, they'll try and flee the fox. If I spawn a fox over here, you'll see they actually managed to flee. Both of them reasonably well, despite the fact the foxes are way, way quicker. This is quite interesting, actually. When I built the pursuit component for hunting prey, they basically will hunt whatever the closest thing is to them, and it's capable of splitting up the group. Avoidance, however, works a little bit differently. They will try and flee from all predators simultaneously. So you can see they'll kind of take the best available path based on where all the enemies are. And that was quite fun to build, actually, because I don't really think I've done an awful lot with melee enemies in the past. So that's been good fun. So that's where it currently stands. It's infinitely scalable. I mean, you can drop in level 0, level 1, or level 2 enemies as it stands. And there's no reason that you couldn't just keep deriving more and more classes off my basic agent and, create a full food chain. I mean, it would support entirely, because of the way I've set it up, flying entities as well. You could have birds in there and they kind of fly around and do their thing. I know chickens are birds, but, real birds that fly. However, I haven't yet implemented the ability. They'd swoop down okay and they'd pick up stuff off the ground, but then they'd just fly around the floor. So you need to give them some kind of preferred Z distance or some altitude that they kind of went back to. So I'd need to do that for aerial stuff, but it's quite scalable at the moment, and it's been a fun little project for the last week or so, just chipping away at in a bit of free time. But if anyone ever has, done Boids before, or done really good flocking before, even basic flocking, and you've noticed I've got some weird inconsistencies and you might know what's causing them, or you've got any feedback or thoughts or even questions if you haven't done it before, drop a comment and I'll get back to you. I guess the final thing is this jitter I'm getting here. You see that the chickens are not quite, almost stuttering, but they're kind of speeding up and slowing down. This is because in a traditional Boids simulation, you let the Boids, often represented by a little triangle, and they can basically, as well as moving forwards, they can strafe, which gives you this very smooth positioning within a group, as they're trying to separate and come together and stuff. I have not allowed that for gameplay purposes. Well, there we go. There's enough S's in there. That'll be fine. Just to really see what it would be like. They can only move forwards. So I don't know if chickens can strafe. I imagine they're not great at strafing based on looking at their leg joints, but let's not worry about that. So that's why I'm getting that little bit of jitter here that you wouldn't normally get in a traditional Boids simulation. because when they're trying to push themselves outwards, they're having to turn out and move up. And then that's getting a little bit of conflict with the alignment vector. So I'd need to really disable that strafing thing if I wanted to get this working perfectly smoothly. Unless anybody's got any other smart solutions, I'd be keen to steal them. But that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you around. Bye now.